It's the dictionary. 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 It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Welcome to this in-between season bonus episode. We are getting ready for the G's. The G's are coming. I still got to do some prep work and then start recording them. But first, we are going to talk more about new words that were added to the Oxford Dictionary in March of 2025, so let's talk about them. We're going to do 20 words again. Here we go. The first one is descarga. I assume the S is pronounced descarga. And the context for this one is among Cuban musicians. So this is a jam session, especially one to improvise son montuno, which is, I guess, some musical term, probably in Cuban music. Son montuno? How is it? What could this be? What is this exactly? Son montuno is a subgenre of son cubano developed by Arsenio Rodriguez. So it's a type of Cuban music. There you go. And so if they want to improvise on this type of music, they will have a jam session, and they will call that jam session descarga for some reason. Don't know what it means. All right, next we have Dios mío. This is 2 words. I have heard this, so you will learn about what it is if you have not heard it. Dios is capital D-I-O-S, and the second word is mío, M-I-O, like it's a mío, Mario. So this is chiefly in Spanish contexts and among Hispanic Americans, and it is expressing astonishment, dismay, excitement, etc. But really, the phrase means, oh my God, that's really what it is. So if you are in a situation where you need to express some astonishment, dismay, excitement, or something related to that where you're just like, what? Then you can say, Dios mío. But it's probably better if you are already a Spanish speaker. It might be a little bit weird if you're taking this on and you only speak Icelandic. All right, next we have, now this is interesting. This is very timely. Now this was added to the dictionary in March of 2025, and I feel like since then, this term has come up a lot in the world. So, the term is diversity hire. This is a noun. I think I forgot to say descarga is a noun and Dios mío is an interjection. So diversity hire is a noun, and it is a person said to be hired intentionally by an employer in order to increase the diversity of the workforce with regard to underrepresented or ... I don't think we really need to go any further with that definition. I think we get it. So, what to say about this? So really the idea is what the definition said. If the company thinks that their employees are not diverse enough, that they will hire people to be a diversity hire, so their company will be more diverse. So typically this is probably people who are not white. Doesn't have to be that situation, right? It could go the other way, but I guess that's probably less common. And really what it's saying is that you are here to make our company more diverse, to make us look better, but also you probably don't have the skills to be in the job that you're in. I think that's often what is being said in this term. This has come up in politics recently. I believe there was somebody, at least one person at a very high level, who was fired, I think because people said that they were a diversity hire with the whole removal of DEI. People are saying, no, they're just a diversity hire. But if you look at their resume, they are clearly not. So, yeah, don't need to go too deep into that. I definitely don't know all of the details and remember all of the people, but a lot of people have been said that people were diversity hires in American government, and I think that is ridiculous. Okay, next we have doggy daycare. This is a noun, and it is a place that I would like to go hang out in all day. This is daytime supervision of and care for a dog, typically provided at a location other than the owner's home. I think that's the whole idea, is that the owner goes to work and then they have to send their dog to a daycare. And then it says often and earliest as a modifier, especially in ... We'll just ignore that last part. I literally work about 100 feet away from a doggy daycare. I walk out the door, I turn to the left, and just right there's a doggy daycare. And so when I arrive in the morning, and sometimes when I'm leaving in the afternoon, there are people dropping off, picking up their dogs. And why can't I just go work there instead? I would love to hang out with dogs. You still got to deal with, poop and stuff. But, you just get to play with dogs and walk them and stuff. I see nothing wrong with that. It's actually been interesting. I've been able to watch this place grow over the years. They have expanded. They took over what was next door when that place closed, and I think they have like a huge room where the dogs can run around in and do obstacle courses and stuff. Yeah, it's very cool, and I think they're doing very well. And the dogs need the love and the care all day when the owners are gone at work. So, pretty cool doggy daycare. Doggy daycares are pretty cool. We gotta sing more, even though I do the same thing every time. Okay, next we have the word drill. Was the word drill not in the dictionary? Maybe this definition wasn't. This is a noun, and it is a style of hip hop or rap music originating in Chicago, characterized by stark, ominous beats and synthesizer loops and aggressive, combative lyrics. ... Interesting. Okay, well, I definitely am not aware of all the different types of hip-hop music out there. If you couldn't tell, that's not really the world that I live in. Stark, ominous beats. Well, I definitely want to hear some of this. Maybe you can go look some up if you want. So this would be drill music? Is that how we would verbalize this? Drill? I'm going to go listen to some drill music with its stark, ominous beats and synthesizer loops. And also the lyrics are aggressive and combative. Intense. Now we have early to better. This is 3 words with hyphens. Early to better is a noun. And this is a person who habitually goes to bed early. Well, I guess, technically, I would be an early to bedder because I go to bed earlier than probably the average person. Maybe not people who are 20, 30 years older than me. I probably go to bed the same time they do. But I get up early and I like to be around in the morning when there's not a lot of people, and I get to work early, and then I get to leave early, hopefully. So yes, I'm an early to bedder. Although, as the band Morphine would say, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man or woman miss out on the nightlife. So yeah, sometimes if people want to go hang out at night, I'm like, I'm falling asleep. I go to bed at 9, and the band doesn't start till 11. I'm so old. All right, that's an early to bedder. Next we have elote. Now, if I didn't actually know the pronunciation of this word, I would have said elote, because that's how it's spelled in English. That's how it would be pronounced in English. But this is a Spanish word, elote. It is a noun, and it is a dish originating in Mexico and Central America, but also popular in the United States, consisting of a grilled or boiled corn on the cob, typically ... But here's the thing. They spend so much time saying where it's originating from, they have no space to describe what the actual elote is. So I am going to look this up so I can give you the proper information of an elote. Let's just grab this random link to a recipe for elote. Now this one is showing the elote off the cob, but I think typically it is on the cob. And we have to scroll all the way down to here are a few tips of the ingredients. So you need ears of corn. That would probably be very helpful to have corn in your elote, which is made of corn. For this specific recipe, they've got sour cream, mayonnaise, sriracha, chicken stock, which I don't think is typical because usually if you're eating it on the corn, I don't think you need the chicken stock probably. Sugar, that is to balance the acidity of your elote recipe if you want that. Cotija cheese, which I believe was in a previous pre-G bonus episode, cotija cheese. And cilantro. Now, are there any other... that was just like the tips of the ingredients, but let's look up... Boy, here's the actual recipe. Finally, we scrolled all the way down. We got corn, mayonnaise, sour cream, sriracha, lime juice, chicken stock, salt, black pepper, sugar, cotija cheese, broken into small chunks. I think you could also use I think I've heard people using Parmesan or other types. Cilantro and ground chili powder. And if you're eating this on the corn, you really just make sure your corn is cooked and you just put all the stuff on it. And whatever way you want, just slather it on there. And that's an elote. I remember when I was probably, I must have been 10 or younger, 10-ish. So this would have been 35-ish years ago. We were at dinner at my mom's cousin's house, and her husband had brought up this elote. He had learned about this elote because I think we had corn, and my mom was like, "What is an elote?" And he described what all goes on it, and she was like, "Oh my God, that sounds amazing!" And he was like, "Here, I'll make you one," because I think he had all the ingredients, and so he made my mom an elote. And it wasn't until years and years later that I actually started to see this offered in restaurants or food trucks or whatever. And so it took a long time, I think, for it to get really popular in America where it was available. I'm sure it was available in some sort of Mexican restaurants and stuff like that, but I guess we weren't attending them very often. But now, elotes are everywhere. All right, let's move on to the word faffy. F-A-F-F-Y. Faffy? This is an adjective, and it is chiefly British and Irish English colloquial, so I guess specific regions there are going to use this word faffy, and it means overcomplicated, time-consuming, or annoying, and also requiring particular care and attention. Well, I guess this podcast could be a little bit faffy. It's not necessarily overcomplicated, but it is time-consuming, and sometimes it's a little annoying because I gotta keep up with it. There's so many episodes, so much to get through. That's a little annoying, and it does require particular care and attention. I have to be very focused on my organization and make sure everything is right. But yeah. So what else could be faffy? I don't know. Overcomplicated, time-consuming, annoying, just a project. Ugh, this project I have to do, mowing the lawn, dishes, those could be faffy. If you are British or Irish English, I would like to know, what do you call faffy? Do you use this word? Is this part of your vernacular? Faffy? Okay, next we have feedback loop. 2 words. This is a noun. And it is a process whereby information on responses to something, such as an event, product, etc., which has been gathered from participants, consumers, etc. Oh boy, they have not gotten to the actual definition of what the feedback loop is. So the responses to something, I think they just go back and they just looping around and such. And let's look up the actual definition on, I guess, a different site because Oxford won't let me. This one, the AI overview says a feedback loop is a process where the outcome or the output of a system's actions is fed back in as an input to modify future actions, creating a continuous cycle of self-regulation or change. I don't know of a specific example. Let's see. Let's see if there's a specific example of where this happens. Examples in different fields. Here we go. Business. In business, a feedback loop is when they're collecting customer feedback to improve products or services, leading to increased customer satisfaction. Does that seem like a feedback loop? I guess so. In biology, childbirth contractions intensify through a positive feedback loop until the baby is born. So the contractions are making the mother push, which leads to more contraction. I'm not sure. In psychology, a person's thoughts or emotions influence their behavior, which then creates a response from the environment, further influencing their thoughts and feelings. Yes, this happens. Your environment affects how you think and behave, and then your behavior also affects your environment because you make choices to go places, do things, and then that environment then comes back to you and vice versa, and it keeps on going. So negative feedback loops. This type of loop works to stabilize a system by counteracting change. An example is a thermostat in a room detects that the temperature is too high. It then shuts off the furnace, bringing the temperature back to the set point. Is that negative because it's going in a negative way, but it's not bad necessarily? But I think this is being added to the dictionary because it's a term that I think it gets used a lot in like business jargon stuff, or just whatever, where it's being used more often. So it's in the dictionary. Congratulations, feedback loop. Now, let's move on to a completely different word, which is fish head curry. Of course, I can't not think of the very silly song Fish Heads. Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads. Probably not the best song in terms of things. I don't think it's aged very well, but it is still a very silly song. So this is in Singaporean, Malaysian, and Indonesian cookery is where the fish head curry is. And it is a dish influenced by Chinese and South Indian cuisine, consisting of a large fish head, usually of ... Well, I think it's pretty clear. I don't know if we need to do more digging. There's a fish head in it, and it's made with a curry sauce soup kind of thing, and the fish head affects the taste. It makes it taste kind of fishy, and then you also have a fish head, which some people like to eat. Not me, but some people would. And so it's, I think the name is pretty clear. Fish head curry. Now, let's go on to this word, which I love very much, which is the word flabbergasted. Sometimes things flabbergast me. I am flabbergasted. But what is flabbergasted, you are asking? What does the dictionary define as flabbergasted? It is an adjective, and it's talking about a person, so a person would be flabbergasted. In a state of great astonishment, confusion, shock, etc., and temporarily at a loss as to what to say or do. Also of a person's ... whatever that means. So I am so confused by this situation that I just don't even know what to say or do. I'm so flabbergasted. I just like the word. This is just one of those weird words. Much weirder than other ones, but I just like saying this word, flabbergasted. How often am I actually flabbergasted? I don't think I'm flabbergasted very much. I think I've seen enough in the world, heard about enough things that are out there that nothing really shocks me, surprises me anymore. Let me see. I kind of want to say that some things that this president is doing and this administration is doing do flabbergast me, because sometimes I'm at a bit of a loss for words, because I'm shocked not by the fact that they're doing it or saying it. It's more by the fact that they have no respect for humans. That's what I'm flabbergasted by. All right, moving on to flower bomb. Flower bomb. I do not want to be on the receiving end of a flower bomb. I guess if it was flowers that grow from the ground, but that's not what this is. This is flour like what you use to make bread. This first one is a noun, and it is a paper bag, balloon, etc., filled with flour and thrown or dropped such that it bursts and disperses its contents over the target on impact. Usually ... I think we got enough of the information. You fill a thing with flour. You drop it on a person, probably, and then the flour has dispersed over their body. I assume it would be over a person. I don't know what else you would be trying to target with flour. Why would you be wasting good flour on just the sidewalk? That seems like a waste. But now we have the verb form. This is the transitive verb form, usually in passive. And it is to throw a flour bomb at a person or a thing, typically as a prank or as part of a protest or public demonstration. So yes, we have learned that it is typically towards a person or something. I don't know what thing you would be throwing a flour bomb at. What thing are you flour bombing? But I definitely see protest or public demonstration. If you are very angry about what this administration is doing, then, I don't know, maybe they've sent in the National Guard to your city and you just happen to be standing on top of a building that is above some of this National Guard, or maybe not the National Guard necessarily, maybe the ICE agents, and there's a protest going on and the ICE agents are there and you're like, I just happen to have flour and I happen to have a bag. Why don't I put this flour in the bag? And there is a person standing right there who is disrespecting these humans who are just trying to live their lives, and they're hurting them, they're injuring them, they're taking them away from their families and their life. I'm going to drop a flour bomb on them, which is the least bad thing I think that you could do in that situation. Seems like just a big irritant to them, even though they might deserve a little bit more than that, because they are overreaching. They're doing terrible stuff. That's all I can say. Next, we have fog of war. 3 words. It is a noun. I feel like this phrase has been around for a while, but I guess it wasn't in the dictionary. So it's usually with the word the fog of war, not fog the of war, or fog of the war, or fog of war the. This is a state of confusion, disorientation, or uncertainty caused by limited awareness of the current situation in a battle or war, especially ... So, limited of the current. So you are you are not aware of the current situation in the battle. You have confusion or disorientation from the current situation. So you're in the fog of war. I'm in the war, and my brain is all foggy because I don't know everything that's going on. I don't really know how they use this. I'm sure there's some good contexts. I don't know. Well, let's just look up when would you use the phrase the fog of war? Not what? War. Yes, there's a lot of stuff about this. You would use the phrase the fog of war to describe the chaos, confusion, and uncertainty that military commanders face during battle, leading to incomplete or misleading information and a general inability to fully grasp the battlefield situation. Well, you would want your military commanders to know everything that's going on, but sometimes it's just not possible. So they're like, guys, we're trying to have a war here. But I just feel like we got a little bit of a fog of war situation going on. I don't know what's going on over there. We're not getting the intel that we need. So, guys, we're just in a fog of war situation over here. Sorry about that. We'll try better next time. Okay? Okay, good. Now we have forest elephant. It is a noun. And this is an African element. No, that is not the word at all. An African elephant of the smaller species Loxodonta cyclotis, characteristic of tropical forests in Central and Western Africa. I guess I didn't realize that elephants are living in the forest. I don't know. I don't know all my elephant information. So they're African. Specifically in the forests of Central and Western Africa, and they're smaller. So I don't know. Let's just look up a forest elephant. Why does forest elephant get to be added to the dictionary, but maybe there are other types of elephants that are not? I don't know. how many types of elephants are there? Are there plains elephants? I don't know. I guess I think of I typically hear like African or Asian elephant, but I guess there must be more. What can we say? Their mass is between 6,000 and 13,000 pounds. They live about 60 to 70 years. You know what else? They look like elephants. That's the forest elephant. Elephant. Next, we have forever war. Don't want a forever war. Just like the forever plastics, the forever chemicals, we don't need those. Forever war is a noun, and it is a military engagement or political conflict that lasts for a prolonged period of time with no apparent end in sight. Maybe that's because you're in the fog of war, and it feels like this war is going to go on forever. You're confused about every aspect of the war, so it feels like it's going to go on forever. Oh my God, it's going on forever. It's not going to be forever. Nothing's forever. Literally nothing. Next, we have frijoles negros. And in this context, we have to say that negros, I think that would be how you pronounce it in Spanish. It just means black. So these are black beans. But specifically, let's say what this says. It says it is a noun. It's in Latin American cookery, and it is black beans cooked with onions, garlic, herbs, and spices, and eaten as a soup, stew, or side dish, or as a filling in ... A filling in what? What do you fill things with? I don't know, empanadas? Could you fill empanadas with this very tasty sounding thing? Yes, I would like this very much. It sounds vegan as long as you're using like a vegan stock, a veggie stock. Please and thank you. Beans, onions, garlic, herbs, spices, especially the spices. I love spices. Please, I would like to eat these. Now, we have a similar word. Frijoles refritos. Are these refried beans? Let's find out. It is a noun in Mexican cookery, so different than Latin American cookery. It's Mexican. A little bit of a different world, I guess. I think of Latin American as maybe more the south of Mexico, all those countries, and maybe even South America. But frijoles refritos are Mexican and nowhere else. I don't know if I believe that. But anyway, this is beans, traditionally pinto beans, cooked by boiling and then mashed and fried to make a thick paste. Also, a dish consisting of ... A dish consisting of this stuff. So the proper name in Spanish would be frijoles refritos, and typically in English we just say refried beans. They're refried because they're cooked and then they're fried, and then what do you fry them again? Oh yes, please. Fried bean. Now this is, it's not like a fried onion ring with a batter and stuff around it, although now kind of I want maybe like, can you put some of these beans, these cooked beans, into a doughy battery thing like a ball and then fry that, and then I would eat that. Next, we have frita, Frita. It is a noun, and it is in Cuban cookery. So we've had 3 cookery words in a row: Latin American, Mexican, and now Cuban. So a frita in Cuba is a hamburger consisting of a beef and pork patty, so both beef and pork, and it is topped with shoestring potatoes and served in traditional Cuban white bread. I definitely would like to have some shoestring potatoes on my burger. It will be a vegan burger. I don't know what Cuban white bread is. We did have that word at the very beginning. There was something about a bread. It was like a roll. It was unleavened, but it looked leavened to me. Was that one this type? I don't know. So that is a frita. It is a Cuban burger. And now we will do one more word. Here we go. It is gabacho. Gabacho. It is a noun, and it's originally in Spanish contexts, and it is a French person, which is now rare, but later in Mexico and other Latin American countries, It is a foreigner, especially a man, usually ... And we have now lost the most important information, so we got to go look up what is a gabacho? Please and thank you, Internet, tell me. Spanish word with different meanings depending on the region, but it most commonly refers to a foreigner, particularly someone from the U.S. or of French origin. So it sounds like originally it was more talking about a French person, but maybe now it's like, nah, less French, more U.S. Nah, you're a foreigner. Let's see. While originally used in Spain to describe French people in Mexico and parts of Latin America, it typically serves as a derogatory or casual term for people from the U.S. So if you hear somebody say gabacho, they're probably talking about you. And maybe they're like, get these gabachos out of here. Why do we need